This week on the Minding Your Business podcast, we talk about how chasing attention causes burnout and how passion fuels your flame. Welcome to the Minding Your Business podcast. I'm CJ Jolliffe with everybody's favorite co-host,
Aaron Gerald. And I am happy to be here today. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of
slightly
things.
glad to be here, but it's okay. Hopefully you can lift my spirits.
I think so, because I'm going to be asking you some questions. I got some for you.
Okay.
This go round. It's been a couple of weeks since we've even gotten together.
Yes.
You know, you can't leave me alone for longer than a week because I go so far. Anyway, I've had some epiphanies, at least one major epiphany. And now I've gotten to where that's caused me to need some more information before I can take the next step.
Okay.
Which brings me back to the part where I've got to talk to you about it. Now, I've kind of talked a little bit about the project that I want to be working on. And I've got this kind of mystery series where I get to really pour myself into it as a passion project. And I realized that it isn't just my passion project. It is what I want. And it's what I've wanted to do in one form or another. Like maybe not this exact storyline because I'm limited to having camera people and having a team of people or a group of people that are interested in working on the same thing. So I'm having to shape it, but it's still the thing that I've wanted to do. We've talked about this on my YouTube channel when I was doing it before. I was having to do solo shooting, but I wanted to do more cinematic stuff where I was being be creative, not just instructional.
Right.
And I know in the last few weeks, I've been like, well, I got to stay on brand. I've got to do all this stuff. I'm going to circle back to that in a little bit. But in the meantime, I have some questions because of the project I need to be working on. We've touched on it in After Hours, where we've talked about some of the technology and software and assets and things that I need to use that have now come into existence, or at least into my acknowledgement of their existence, my awareness.
Sure.
And so I want to start using them. And I've downloaded a few of the assets. I've got them stored on a little SSD card. It's not a big one. And I apparently don't have between my computer and that SSD card the bandwidth or the RAM or something. So that's why I'm going to touch base with you to have it pull up in the project that I'm working on in order to use it. Okay. And my intention was to ask you, hey, in After Hours, let's work on figuring out how to apply those assets and use them on some sample videos that I recorded. And I can't even get them to pull up and preload, which I know is a thing because I've watched some YouTube videos on it. And that needs to happen to make it to where I can use them. I can't even get that step to happen. And I think it is a hardware issue. So I believe, and you can correct me, but I think my next step is to get some more memory. So an SSD card.
When you say memory, do you mean storage space, file storage space, or do you mean RAM?
That's what I'm asking you about.
Okay.
I don't know if I need short-term or long-term. I only know brain. I don't know computer. Okay. So I don't know if I need working memory. I guess that is memory, right? And then long-term memory storage.
Yeah. I don't like referring to it as memory. I think storage and then RAM,
Okay. Well, then in that case, I don't know what I need. So I'm not sure which of those two things I need and what makes the most sense. Like, does it make sense for me to go out and get a big, 8 terabyte store SSD card for those run like almost $400 or $500? So do I get one of those that I can store my videos and my assets and this project on and then use it on my little mini Mac? Or do I go, no, it doesn't even make sense. I'll get a 2 terabyte card and then get the new mini Mac that has the higher RAM. Now I'm balanced. And so anyway, that's my question, because I have recognized the direction I'm going to be going in is I am going to be cleaning house, scraping things off. Like a lot of things I've been doing with too many burners on the stove. We've had this conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Trying to do
we both do that.
Like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll juggle. And that way, I can keep all these pans hot. I just have to move them constantly. And that no longer makes sense for me. I'm going to touch on that in a few minutes.
Sure.
once I've sort of finished formulating it in my head, but I got to figure out what my next steps are. I have a really hard time thinking 5 steps ahead if I can't figure out what my next step is, because it's like I have to go through too many freaking options. If my next step has 4 options, now I'm like at 35 steps away because there's so many different ways I can go.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and you
need to
can always take 35 steps instead of 5 because you can go all around, right? And then
yeah.
instead of a straight line. So,
Yeah.
okay,
So
I
I need
think,
to know what makes the most sense long term and short term. Does it make sense for me to get some cloud storage and pay $10 a month? Or does it make more sense to have it in my hand? Or does it make
yeah.
sense? I don't know. And maybe that's contingent on what it is I'm storing there. I need some
Well,
help
let's
on
start with how important, because I know I kind of got onto you
that.
um, for
Yeah.
not
I wasn't
saving all of
saving
your old
anything.
projects. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't save anything. I would do it, upload it to wherever it was, on YouTube or Udemy or whatever I was doing, and then I delete, throw it right in the trash and move on to
Yeah.
the next thing. And then every time I
And
needed to
look,
make a tweak or a change, ooh,
I'm the opposite of that. I still have projects from 2004 that I am storing as my watch is making noise. Sorry. Um,
yeah,
do I need that stuff? No.
right,
But I look at some of that stuff like it's a photo album.
okay,
Like, yeah, you don't pull out and look at those pictures that are in a photo album, all the
very often,
time. You do every once in a while and like, oh, this was cool.
right,
But then there might be a time where something comes up and you need a photo of Uncle Jim or something, and
mhm,
there's a piece that you can use that. Like, so that's where I
yeah,
might be a bit of a file hoarder. Um,
okay.
but okay. So let me just kind of first of all, how important is it um, right now to you to keep files that you're going to work on moving forward, like the projects that you've been working on?
Okay. So oh God, what a tough question. When
Let's
I
work through
think
it.
about it, like keeping and maintaining and holding on to and having at the ready, like my Udemy course teaching videos, and not important at all, which is
I see.
why
I would think that would be the more important one,
I'm
because then
throwing
what
those.
if you wanted to update your course and just throw in something new or throw in like an extra thought? I would think those are the ones you would want to keep.
Yeah, no, I don't
Oh
care.
my gosh. Okay, well,
Let's see.
okay, let's
Like
back up a
those,
bit.
like if I'm gonna redo it, I'll just make one new video and replace the old one or add it. Like I don't, none of it matters to me. That's not where my brain goes. Where it is catching and which is why I'm having so much trouble, because I'm very much I haven't used it in 2 months. I'm throwing it out
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
which is so different from me as a child. I save everything for my entire life kind of a thing. And it is weird because it is baskets. Like I'm still driving the same pickup truck that I drove, I don't know, 18 years ago. Like I have the same vehicle. I'm not going to, it still runs. Why would I get a different one?
Right. Right.
Um, and so there's that. I'm still wearing my night shirt for bed is still the same shirt I had in high school, which leads me down a whole nother path. Like, why is cotton shirts from 1990 still
Why are they so
fine?
good?
Not
Yeah.
frayed, not
Yeah.
nothing, but I buy a new t-shirt in 6 washes. It's threadbare.
Yeah.
But that's conversation for
I
another day.
digress.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when I get something and it's good, I just use it and keep it
Yeah.
forever. However, when it comes to digital content or whatever, I'm like, I can just remake it again. Why would I? However, when I'm thinking about the project that I want to do, which is making stuff that's much more cinematic, I recognize the necessity for being extremely organized, because the difference between me sitting in front of a camera and talking, teaching a subject that I already know, that I'm just going to teach on that subject and let you know what's in my head. I'm going to relay it in the best way possible, and I'm going to do it as fast as I possibly can without letting it be confusing. Okay, I can do that, and I can do it today. I can do it tomorrow. I can do it the next day. In fact, I'd rather do it again in 3 weeks because I'm going to have a new spin on it or a new way of telling it that might be even a little bit better. I don't want to use the old footage.
Okay.
That being said, if I'm making cinematic things, it's going to be 40 different cuts or 40 different scenes or angles or whatever. And I'm going to be using, like, if I'm looking down at my notebook, now it's a zoom in close up shot of the notebook and the pen on the thing. And then
Right.
it comes back and it cuts from the side and it shows me looking up. And then it shows me looking up into the camera. All of those things are going to be, it necessitates the need for organization, which is not my
Absolutely.
strong suit, and being able to pull it up and bring it to where it needs to be. So being able to find it easily is also something that is going to be necessary, which means I have to do now something different to live in the space that I'm hoping to spend more time in, which means I don't know what that space is. I'm not sure. It's not familiar area for me. So I need to ask questions of people that know the space.
Well, let me crack the door open for you.
Okay.
So first, you're using Adobe
Yes.
Premiere Pro to
Yes.
edit. So when you're done with a project, you can, and this is from memory. It's been a
Okay.
while since I've done it, but you can go up to, project
Okay.
in the menu, and then like organize project. And you
Okay.
can basically go through a series of checkboxes and you can export, not export, that's not the right word, essentially make an archive of your project. You can copy it
Okay.
and you can basically like you can choose all the footage and all the like every piece of footage that you've recorded and imported, which I wouldn't do, or you can add handles. So what that would do is it would take everything that you used and just move the footage that you used, and you can set your handles to be like 3 seconds. So you could extend a shot 3 seconds on either side. It's going to trim everything else, all the fat out.
I
And
gotcha.
so if you
That
just needed to make a
totally
little
makes sense to
tweak,
me. Okay.
and also what it does, you choose which folder you're moving it to. So
Okay.
it takes all the things, all the
Okay.
pieces, and creates a new file, a new project file that has all the trimmed pieces. And
Okay.
that's how I would one back up. And I would do that on all my projects, even my things that I felt like I could re-record quickly.
Okay.
Um, and I would not put that on an SSD. I would not put that on solely on the cloud.
Okay.
I would put that on a spinning hard drive. And if you
Okay.
wanted to go, if it was really important, and this is why I ask how important it is, if it was really
Sure.
important stuff, I would get a
One of those 5 drive things?
yeah. I mean, you don't have to be that complex. Just like a 2 drive, a
Oh,
RAID, where it's a RAID 0, I believe. No, RAID 1. I don't know. It's been too long. Anyway, the one that where
okay.
it's 2 hard drives and they both have the same information on them. So there's RAID 0 and RAID 1, and one of them is called striping, and so it puts half the data on one drive and half on the other, so it reads twice as fast. This is not for speed. You don't need to worry about that. You're looking for redundancy. So
Right.
I, I would almost like you don't have to do this.
Okay.
This is over the top, but yeah, you could get some kind of RAID array and put that stuff there. I like it on a physical hard drive because you could
Okay.
take it with you. You could, but if it is on a physical hard drive, leave it plugged in. Spinning hard drives are not intended to like be unplugged and sat in a safe or something. Like they need to be moving. You know, um,
Okay.
they last longer if they're spinning versus if they're not for
Okay.
whatever reason. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I honestly don't feel like I'm gonna be taking something back and forth, and if I
yeah,
did,
this is
I
yeah.
would
So that's
probably
just
have
step
a
one.
I would
Mm,
probably have a little SSD. I can move that
yeah,
project to, work on it, bring it back or whatever. But I don't have multiple workspaces for that to make sense for me yet. I'm just gonna be working here in the office. So,
sure. So
okay.
that's for
Step
archive.
1. Okay.
And you could then choose a service like oh my gosh, Backblaze, where it is a like off-site backup of your computer.
Okay.
So it will take, and depending on how big your files are, it could take months to back up your computer, but it's stored in the cloud. So it's a redundant copy of everything on your computer or just the hard drive, whatever you choose. And those it can be as cheap as like $5 a month. It's not that anymore, I don't think, but there are different levels. So then you have offsite storage. So you have on-site archive, offsite storage archive, right? And then for your actual working, and so this is kind of the meat and potatoes, the stuff that you're having problems with, your actual working on the project, um, your internal hard drive on a Mac is going to be faster than just about any external drive, SSD or not. So An SSD is obviously faster than a spinning hard drive by like not even a little bit, 20 times more.
Mhm.
And so you, especially if you're using, 4K footage, you have to have an SSD. You have to have those quick
Okay.
read speeds, but not all SSDs are created equal. For
I
the
have
most part,
noticed.
there's like 2 or 3 classes of spinning hard drives, and
Okay.
now they're all considered slow.
Right.
But with SSDs, the
I
more
have noticed
money you
there's a
spend,
there's
the
a
faster it
speed
is.
on
Oh,
them,
yeah.
and the price jumps
Mhm.
dramatically. And from everything I've read, it's like, if you're doing this, you can get this speed. We suggest, like, always getting more speed than you think you need,
Of course they do,
but
'cause it
for
costs
this,
money.
get this, for this, get
Yeah.
this, for this, get this.
The
And
best
it's
thing you
like,
can do is have it be the internal storage on the Mac. I
okay,
mean, Mac SSDs are incredibly fast. Now, I hope someone that's listening, like, calls me out and tells me I'm wrong. I would love to be educated, but my experience has been, like, nothing is as fast as those
because
internal
it's already
SSDs,
right there. It doesn't have to travel through a cord. I got
which
you.
is where you go, okay, like, yeah, if you bought a, new Mac Mini, the M4 Mac Minis,
Yes,
you couldn't get the entry level one, which was like 599, because it's
right.
only got like a 256 gig hard drive. You probably are going to need a terabyte, you know,
Probably, yeah,
and so then
for
you're
what I'm
probably
doing.
around that, $900,000 mark somewhere around. I don't know, but
Yeah,
just guessing.
it's about that. And I honestly, I just watched. I think we talked about this a time or two ago. The behind the scenes thing with the Apple did for
Yeah.
Mac or whatever, with Severance, and how they're making that entire show on mini Macs. And I'm like, but I'm sure it's not the entry level ones. It's got to be
Oh
the
no. Yeah,
the
and it's
much higher
many
level,
because it's like there's so many pieces, no, so many people that are working on things, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
but a lot more than me. I'm gonna be it's one person doing all of the
right.
things, but at a much smaller scale,
Yeah.
obviously. And I
But
mean,
those M4 chips are incredibly, I mean, it's the 4th generation of the Apple silicon, and they just scream. I mean,
yeah,
I've got an
okay.
M something, I don't know, I don't even know what I have. I have one of the Ultra chips,
So
but
you're saying step one, which is archive hard drive.
and that may not even be the most important. I think it's important.
Okay.
I think you need to choose, do you do it in person or do it on the cloud? I'm a fan of buying a hard drive and owning it because I'm apparently old school. I don't love
No,
renting
I don't.
cloud
I
storage,
me
and I
either.
have to, but,
Honestly.
you know
Honestly, I got a buddy who's like, "Dude, if you're gonna pay for cloud storage, why don't you just form your own cloud? Like, just get a thing and we'll buy, 10 or 15
and you
thing,
can
we'll plug it in,
absolutely
we'll
do
create
that.
our
The
own
problem is what
server."
happens if your house burns down,
Yeah.
like,
And
that's
well, and
why I
then he
say, like,
even says, like, "Well, you run it offsite." And I'm like, "What if that burns down?"
right,
Like,
you have to have redundant, and that's where paying for the cloud
it would
storage
be at
has
that
value.
point, it would make sense. You have to have 2, and it has to be redundant. One at your house,
Right.
one at here. And then you need friends, and then you guys share space, and then it's all over. Well, at that point, it isn't $20 a month to
No.
send it to somebody else who's already built it and selling space for thousands of people.
Right.
So I get it. It's not that important, not yet.
Right.
Let me put it that way for
Right.
me. So when we are saying steps, we're not talking about stairs.
It's
Like
not
step
necessarily
one, do this
linear.
first. It's this is a step you need to take. That's one of many steps. Two, a second of many steps, not in any particular order. So what's step two? Step
Well,
two is
so think of
a
it this
is
way,
SSD.
this is all data security, right? So it's not just that it can be hacked into. It's like, so if your stuff is not backed up, you are data insecure.
Mhm.
Like, you are at risk of losing your data. So
Yeah,
I
I could
think of
just
it like a door with your doorknob or door handle. There's one latch, then you have a deadbolt, and then you have a chain.
okay.
Like, yes, technically, you could just have a door without a handle, without, and you could have just a chain or just a deadbolt. But I would probably start with a knob that locks, you know.
Yep.
So that for me would be probably the probably the Mac, you know. If I were if money's, I'm not saying money's not an object, but if I were going
We're
to
working on a very tight budget.
yes. So
But
if I'm going to give you the best bang for your buck, the best ROI,
mhm,
I would say get the Mac Mini with as much hard drive space as you can afford. Um,
okay.
get a new one, get a Mac, an
Yeah,
M4
yeah.
Mac Mini. That's going to be literally the most bang for your buck. You already have a screen, you already have all the other
Oh
things.
yeah. I have
You can
everything.
just swap in and swap out. And since you are not going from place A to place B and editing in two different spaces, you can skip the SSD storage completely,
Okay.
the external
Oh, okay.
SSD, which saves you the most money because that's the most expensive piece to the puzzle. And
Yeah.
then you could choose to either say spend, $5 to $20 a month on a cloud storage. It's a low barrier to entry, and then
Okay.
you have an archive. Or you could say, I'm willing to spend the $250 on a 22 terabyte drive or something and
Which is the
just
spinning
have it,
hard drive.
which is a spinning hard drive, and just have it. And it's mine. I own
Got it.
it, you know.
Okay.
Um, and then it's going to take you a while to fill up. I mean, I have um externally about 12 terabytes of drives. Um, but I don't shoot as much stuff as I used to. So, I'm
Okay.
not going through it. And, 4K footage obviously takes up a lot more space than HD. And, I started doing this when it was SD. So, um, I don't think you need to get into like a big 5 drive array and all that stuff. That's next
A
level.
little overboard
Yeah.
for what I'm
We're
doing.
looking, like what is the thing that's going to be the most performance for the least amount of cash? It's going to be a Mac Mini with the biggest hard drive you can afford.
Okay.
I don't think you need to go into a 2 terabyte drive. I think a 1 terabyte would do it. I would probably not get any smaller than that. In
Okay.
fact, I don't know. Do you wanna look? Do you wanna look real quick and see what the prices are?
Yeah, let's
Let's
check
do that.
just so that I have kind of a because then I know how many months it's going to take me to get there,
Right.
which is cool because I'm still like I'm finally to the place where I'm no longer running. I no longer
Like
feel the need to run.
okay, yeah.
I'm going to walk. And so normally I get an idea and I take off running as fast as I can. And I end up falling usually and skin myself up. And then I'm like, that's okay. And then I look a different direction. I take off running. So now I'm like, you know what? I've got I've got my idea in mind and I'm gonna walk there. And I'm not gonna wear myself out on things that are less important.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's the Mac Mini.
Yep.
Um,
And that's the basic one there.
yeah, so 599. So let's just configure it. It's pretty much the same all the way across. You're getting more memory here, but the basic one has 16 gigs of unified memory. That's great, man. I mean, I don't know that a 50% jump to get the 24 gigs is going to matter that much.
Okay.
Mine has 32. Um, and
Okay.
I literally have at any time 100 Chrome tabs open. Right now I've got OBS and we're streaming. I've got like 3 screens and and
Right.
all of them are except one or 4K. Like it's just
And all that's
so
with 16?
that's with 32, but it doesn't
Oh,
even get close. I mean, right now I can tell you the my and this is CPU, not RAM, but my CPU load right now with OBS open and all the things,
sure.
all the different things that are because I still have like Premiere open.
Right.
Because why would I close it? Because I'm whatever, and I'm using 5% of my CPU processor.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. I
um,
think I'm at 4 or something on mine, and I'm usually right there. And I gotta close things as I go.
but even here, like, so this gets you into
The
more.
12
I
and
I think that there's more value if you're going to jump up and you're going to spend more. Like this, I would stay away from the 999 prepackaged one.
mhm,
I think you either stay with the 10 core CPU, 10 core GPU,
mhm.
and then add a bigger hard drive, or you just say, forget it, I'm going to go big, and you get the extra cores for your CPU and your GPU. That's going to make a bigger difference than memory probably at that level. Um,
Okay.
so let's just look at just the basic one. We'll start with just
Just
the
look at the basic one and add
entry
to the
level.
terabyte and see,
Yeah,
because that's
because
already
again, this is
1010.
you're working on a what? Do you have an M1 Mac Mini? Is that right?
I have the old big Mac Mini that I don't even think has an M yet. I think
I think it
it's
does.
Oh,
Because
no,
you it
you're
would
right. I looked
yeah.
before. I think it's an M1. My
Um,
brother-in-law helped me look it up, and he's like, "No, here's how you look." And we did it, and we looked it up, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a M1." He's like, "Dude, with the M4 now, like that's such a jump. It'll
It's
blow your
it is
mind."
a jump for sure. It is not as big of a jump as it was from when I went from Intel to the M1 because
Oh,
that was a
okay.
huge jump.
Okay.
So, okay, so here's what you're looking at. If you just added the 1 terabyte SSD, you're
Mhm.
looking at 9.99 for the basic entry level. And that thing is going to run circles around what you have. What you have right now only has 8 gigabytes of unified memory.
Oh, okay.
So that's a huge, it's going to double that. That's going to last you for a long time. I would say until you're just getting into crazy files and stuff, it's going to last you no less than 3 years. And that's,
Okay.
this is, you're talking to a guy that used to get a new computer every year. So,
Okay.
um, if you really wanted to max it out, the
Get
next
to
step would be to add, some memory. I don't think I would jump up to 2 terabytes of SSD storage. And here's why.
oh, okay.
You're not editing if okay, this thing you're working on,
Yep.
this project,
Yep.
it's got episodes, right?
Yeah.
You're not editing 10 episodes all at once.
No.
You're editing each episode kind of, you might be editing 2, but you're not editing all of the whole big thing all at once. So you don't need all that storage. Once you finish an episode and you know that you're done and you've exported it, you archive it and put it on that, external hard drive. So you're not
I
just
see.
keeping all of your
Okay.
stuff. This is
Because 'Cause I'm
your
like, "Ooh,
operating
hang
environment.
on." My thought is, and this was my brain working, because there's so many similar there's gonna be some similar stuff happening.
Sure.
I'm gonna batch the recording for probably 4 episodes at a time, where I'm doing one specific scene, sitting at this one play or this one thing.
Right.
Once I get all the lighting and the everything, the sound the way I want it, I'm running a business too. Like
Right.
I work my job here, and I'm going to be filming most all of it in the office where I do my job. I can't leave stuff set up for a week. It's going to
Right.
be put it up for the day, maybe 2, record it all, tear it all down.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, I have to be smart about it, and I have to record in parts. So what's crazy is I can't record all of episode 1 because there's going to be
Right.
5 places in that office that needs to be shot. Well, that may take 5 different shooting times. So that might
Right.
be 5 to 8 weeks.
Right.
And which fine. But then when I'm done with all of that, I need a place to storage all of those parts in the space, in the place they go. So I know, like, this scene is in the beginning of episode 2. This one is in the
Yeah.
end of episode 1. This one is in the middle of episode 3.
And
That
that
I need.
starts with having a slate. So before
Yeah.
you even hit record, you have a digital slate. You've seen me use them before,
Yep,
right?
yep. Yeah, and I have
You
one
know,
on the iPad that I'm
there
gonna
you
do,
go. Perfect.
and then it
So
well,
then you
so
can see that in your thumbnail of the file. Then when you're ingesting the file onto your computer, like transferring it, put it onto that external hard drive. You don't even need it on the internal thing yet. Not until you're ready to start editing that episode. Then you bring all of your
bring
footage over
all
for
that
that
one
episode.
in,
Yeah.
do
Just
it.
just be smart about, like, import it into folders, right? Like,
Mhm.
you don't have to be
I do
crazy.
have
You
it
don't have
set
to.
up, and I've mentally started to create space and do that. So, okay, I now get with you, so I can set it up once I have the the pieces,
Yeah.
then you can help me set those up to where then I can stay organized, because I don't have a system for staying organized yet because I've never needed to. I just
Right.
do what I'm gonna do that day, export, do it, upload it, done.
I mean, let's put it this way. I put together a documentary that was 5 episodes and a total of like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 5 minutes long.
Right.
It was long before I even had a terabyte of storage.
Okay.
So, it was a lot of footage,
Mhm.
and I forget how much space it was. That's not 4K. It was HD, right? But
Yep.
yeah, like, you're going to be
Okay.
fine. You might
Okay.
actually even be able to fit it all on that 1 terabyte SSD. It just kind of depends. So,
Sure. Yeah,
but I
and I
would,
will okay.
I think that's
So
the best bang for your buck, man. And then again, if you wanted to, like, spend more money, then spend the extra $200 or $400 to get a little more RAM. You will notice that. Um, and
okay.
and the way, to be clear, the way RAM works with Macs now, the unified memory is, if you're 16 gigs of memory, that's your RAM, your video RAM, like everything. It used to be your RAM was separate from your video RAM. So if you had like a video card with 8 gigs of RAM, and then you had system memory with like 8 gigs of RAM, like, that would still not as fast as having, or as much as having 16 gigs of unified memory now. Like,
Okay.
everything's faster because this had to communicate with that, and there was like
Lag.
connections between the two of them were slow. Now everything's all unified and it's
Faster.
crazy.
Okay.
It's like that was the biggest jump. That's why I say like the jump from the Mac minis that were the Intel processors to the
Yeah.
M1, just
Okay.
insane.
Okay.
So, but yeah, dude, $1,000 will get you a a smoking computer. I would say outside of like the memory,
Okay.
like I don't even want to talk about how much I spent on my laptop, but
Right.
just know there's a
More
lot more
money.
than this. And I think, I mean, yeah, I have like the ultra chip or whatever. I still think like I don't know that we'd be able to tell a difference between mine and the new M4. So
Okay. Well then, yeah. Okay. So that's 1,000. The other thing might be around 250 for the hard drive exterior storage.
yeah, and I'm like, you could, I would obviously start with the Mac Mini. That's going to get you if you're having any problems running things, it's there.
Yeah.
I would
No,
start there.
I can tell I'm already at the maximum that this little computer can do,
Yeah,
which is perfectly fine for running the business.
yeah.
But
Well, and
trying
and
to
you don't have
do
to
the
get a
extra,
$250 hard drive either. You can get a 5, 8 terabyte hard drive for probably less than $100. So
oh,
you don't
maybe,
have to
and I
start with
might
the
do
biggest one.
that and just see, and then I
Yeah,
have that running. That is my season one, and
yeah. And
then
again, I've got a 5 and an 8 because I don't. I mean, I actually want to upgrade and I want to get like a 20 something so I can have one drive because I have two things plugged in. And just like you are with like, okay, I did it. I want to move on. I want to clean my desk. I want less things on my desk. I
yeah,
use this now. It should be gone. I don't want to file it. I want to throw it away.
yeah,
So
yeah. Man, I'll tell you, my office, my desk is fairly clean. I have my notepads for taking notes. I got my mouse, which I also need to get the trackpad here soon. I have a keyboard and
yes,
a microphone. I do have the Stream Deck, which I haven't fully learned to utilize yet, and that's all on my desk. Now, everything else is on the counter behind the desk, including the lights and the clock
right,
and all of that. But it's like I have to have a clean desk. If I don't have a clean desk and everything else is behind my monitor, so I can't see the mess
right.
that makes up this. Because if I do, I get anxiety seeing
Oh
all the
yeah,
cord, and I take all the cords and I've rolled them out and I've zip tied them and they're all super neat, but still, it's not enough.
yeah. I have a
So,
pile. Like I have a tray to hold my like documents, my papers and stuff, and everything is kind of gets piled. So anything that doesn't get filed yet, it goes in that pile. So I have like just a vertical mess, not a horizontal
yeah,
mess.
yeah, I
You know,
gotcha. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I can't concentrate. I will get.
Okay.
Well, we just moved.
Yes.
2 months ago
Which
or whatever.
The Office looking
Oh,
really good
yeah.
so far.
Thank you.
Okay,
It's
so
getting
I
there.
think I've got enough information to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to hijack the
No,
entire
it's all.
episode.
I
Was
I
there
bring value,
anything
so I feel like I brought value. Like I can
Okay,
sleep
so
good
is there
tonight.
anything you wanted to touch on? I
I
I
got
know
I got a
you've
couple
been
things.
you've been kind of going through your curriculum. You've been
I
kind of
have,
taking it
and
step by step and kind
there's
of doing that.
so much, and I don't really have. So we're gonna kind of take a break from that today, and
Okay.
I'm going to because this is just like whether it's ADHD or whatever it is, like what is in front of me is where
It's the
I'm
most
focusing,
important.
and I
Yeah.
just can't see past it right now. So, like Thursdays, Christian and I work on roast of the week stuff.
Right.
And, we were on vacation. We didn't do anything. Like the week before we went on vacation was a really busy week and we didn't really do anything. So we have a couple weeks off where weren't really doing anything.
Okay.
And we started the whole like quiz funnel thing.
Yes.
Got it all built out and didn't just kind of like left it there. We didn't actually tell
Launch.
anyone about it.
Didn't do it.
So
Okay.
um anyway, roast of the week stuff. So this does have a purpose. My gosh, man. I have gotten so used to just having fresh coffee. Fresh and I prefer light roast, but just
Right.
fresh coffee.
Uh-huh.
I have gotten spoiled
Yep.
and we drove to California for 4th of July and went through I-70, kind of through like, the Rockies and that kind of stuff on the way there. We came back Route 66,
Right.
and I have found all of the bad coffee all along the road. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And like it wasn't even like I had to have the coffee because I was
Yeah.
it's a long drive.
Yes.
And so I forgot how bad coffee is.
Yeah.
Like I've just gotten used to it, or used to the good stuff, and just like that's normal, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I found one. I forget if this was on the way back or on the way there, but I found like a Love's truck stop that had a nice like fresh ground coffee machine. So it has like the three different
Yeah.
grinders or whatever, and you choose which roast you want or whatever, and it grinds it right then and then brews it. And as it's brewing, I'm smelling it and I'm like, oh man, because I can
Yeah.
smell that it's stale.
Yep.
And like I tried everything from light roast to medium to dark, all the things across the road. I'm gonna drink more coffee, and I was just so incredibly disappointed. So beyond, like, yes, I like light roast, right? But I
Yeah.
will take dark roast all day long if it is at least fresh.
Yep.
And I couldn't find anything that was fresh. It's all stale, just, and
Yes.
I don't know like even how to explain it. I know, right? But
There's
to
no way
anyone
to
that's
put it into
listening,
words, but
yeah.
it is different. It is, yeah, it's like your taste buds. You drink decent coffee and you're like, yeah, and now you become accustomed to it. And when you taste what you used to be okay with, you're like no longer
So I actually just thought of an analogy, but it's
okay.
only going to resonate with smokers or people that have smoked.
Okay.
The difference between fresh coffee and stale coffee is, if you're a smoker taking a drag of a cigarette
Uh-huh.
versus stale coffee is just smelling an ashtray. Like it's just like
Mhm.
that is like the difference. And I know that's
Yeah.
crazy, but like that it was such
Yeah.
an eye opener. So right, so Christian and I yesterday were working on stuff. We're like, okay, we got
Okay.
to get back in the swing of things.
Okay.
We launched our quiz funnels, so we'll see,
Oh,
in a few weeks how
okay.
that is performing and everything. Um,
Okay.
but it was just basically like we have we have to do this thing has to work
Okay.
because it's almost like when you're so close to it, you don't see how like good it is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it, but basically now having got a little more perspective, and I'm not just saying like the truck stops, right? We specifically hit
No.
different places when we were in we went
Yeah.
to Central Coast of California, little coffee shops that had great ratings and stuff, and it's just like, oh, that one's over roasted, or that one's that's not very good, and
Yes.
so we just kind of like came back with just this renewed like, man, we have a great product. And speaking of great products, product placement here this week, we have a special one, Nicaragua Natural. So
Okay.
instead of like a washed process, this is not something that's in our normal rotation. We were just able to get a hold of it.
Okay.
And so it's like it's a natural process. They let them dry out. It's
Okay.
not a honey process. That's kind of like the next level, but it has
Okay.
more flavor than a washed bean does.
Okay.
It's got a silky, like full body blackberry and dark chocolate notes. So it is. I've
Okay.
only had it as espresso. We made some yesterday,
I'm like,
but
I'm really looking forward to
it
that
was
then.
so good.
Outstanding. I
I'm
can't
like
wait.
not. I mean, yeah, I'm biased, but man, it was so good. So,
Outstanding.
but that just goes back to like this is
So
why we do
when you say
this.
you launched the quiz funnel,
Yes,
you're running ads, you're running Instagram ads, like
we
what are
end up
you
we
doing?
will we are. This is the we said it like 4 times yesterday. Done
Okay.
is better than perfect. Done is better
Mhm.
than perfect. I said it a couple
Absolutely.
times. Christian said it a couple times, but it's like let's just get this thing done where it's where we're promoting it. So we, you know, did some posts on Instagram, some posts on Facebook, some posts on X. Um, we can take that next level. We will, but we
Okay.
want to start with okay. Here's our baseline, just in our organic reach.
Got it.
Get people see what we kind of response we get.
Okay.
Um,
Fair enough.
and we can do that on TikTok too. We have a problem with our TikTok account. Apparently, we're not a they won't verify the business, which is hilarious
Right.
because like
You are a business.
our
Yeah.
business gave them all the documents, but
Uh-huh.
they're like, oh, you're not verified.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I 100% get
yeah.
it. Uh,
So
I
anyway,
tried
all
to
that to
verify
say,
that I was who I said I was and that I'm my business because I am my business, right? And
right, right,
they're like, "Now we don't know that you're you." I'm like,
right.
"You absolutely know I'm me."
What I think is hilarious is that even though we're not a verified business and we're not a business account, they let us spend money and run ads.
Right.
Okay.
You can do that.
Yeah, of course.
But you're not gonna benefit from those ads, and we're not
Right.
gonna show
Right.
anybody those ads because 'cause you're not verified.
Yeah. So we have to
Um,
decide like on Facebook, like Instagram specifically, like you can pay,
mhm,
I think it starts at $15 a month on Instagram. It might
uh-huh,
be, you can pay as much as, well, a lot more, but to get like your reels to be able to have links so you can take people to
ah,
a page.
okay,
So that's probably what we'll end up doing. Um, just kind of like, again, done is better than perfect. It's
sure.
out there, it's existing. Now let's see next week. We'll see if we, throw a little bit of money at it, see
Sure.
what kind of reach we
See
can,
which one comes in and which one gets the views and then go from there.
and I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm gonna say Instagram is probably the best market for roast of the week. It's gonna be Instagram or TikTok. Our
okay,
organic reach is best on Facebook. We know that. But anyway,
okay. Alright. Um,
so you that what we talked about was just like an intro, just like a
I was
piece
like,
of what you
if that's where you're gonna leave it, then that brings me to my next point. Or the
yes,
next thing I
please.
kinda wanted to talk about, and that is I had to start first with how do I start storaging the stuff for the project that I wanna
Yeah.
work on. And the reason that I so strongly wanna work on that project is because of the epiphany that I came to, and that is I ended up getting it from a new website that I had not heard of. I actually heard of it or got told about it by my chat.
Okay.
So I'm talking to chat and I'm like, you know what? Come on, man. Let's figure out how do I access the audience that's going to be into this thing that I'm wanting to make? And so, not to spoil everything, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm creating basically a mystery type analog horror psychological um, series
Thriller.
thriller. And I'm like, I know there's an audience out there for that. How do I reach them? How do I tap them? How do I get this in front of them? And so Chat and I are going back and forth and we're talking about all these things. And I'm like, okay. And so I keep changing what I'm going to do and I'm, modifying. I'm going to make these posts and I'm going to do this. And so how do I do it to meet and greet those people and then give them what they're looking for?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I freaking seriously need some money. Like I can't afford the M thing. I can't afford the SSD card. I need to crowdfund.
Yeah.
So maybe I should put this on Kickstarter. So I ask chat, like, how do I create this audience by putting out all these shorts that are pieces of the series when I need the money to create the series in
Right.
the first place? So how do I create an audience before I create the thing that the audience might be into? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And it was very this is the part that shocked me is it told me go do crowdfunding. You're going to have to figure it out how to like get these
Thanks.
audience, but there's a way to do it.
Okay.
Um, and what we suggest is that you check out this website, this crowdfunding platform
Which
for
is
making video media. And so I'm
okay.
like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody what it is. It's called Seed and Spark. It's
Okay.
actually run or put on by these two women who help people generate money for their video projects.
Nice.
They crowdfund for that. And I'm like, okay, basically you get in, you create your project, you tell it what you're looking for, you put everything on your wish list, you put it all out, and then you send it out to your audience. And the two women on this thing were like, listen, if you really want this to work, like Kickstarter has a 14% success rate. Ours has an 82% success rate.
Wow.
If you take the training before you
Uh,
launch. And
uh.
I'm like, of course, ladies, you want me to take your training? They're like, training's free, so just get going.
Oh,
And I was like, what? So I started watching the training, and a lot of it is, it's stuff I've heard before. Build your audience, talk to them, do this stuff.
Right.
And then I think it was about, there's 12 videos in this course that they're teaching. And not even a course, it's just them talking and explaining what it is they do and how to do it, and different ways of thinking about it, ways to open your mind, and how to get your story out before you get your story out. Like, how do
Okay.
you get your story out and then get the funding to tell your story? And it's like
Right.
none of that made sense to me until I heard them explain it. And one of the women said something, and it was almost under her breath. And it hit me so hard. It was like a sledgehammer in my face. I had to stop the video, rewind it, rewatch it 4 times. And each time it hit me harder because it changed and it opened up. Maybe everybody else already knows this information. I don't know. But it's really strange because I now recognize that I am not trying to access an audience. I am not trying to gather an audience.
Okay.
I am here to do what I do and allow whoever it is that might be interested in it to find me. That's it. I am not here to create an audience.
Right.
I am here to expose myself to people who can choose to be my audience, because
Right.
my audience doesn't exist yet. There isn't an existing audience. What she said is, if you're trying to target an existing audience, you're pandering. You're
Yeah.
not being you, and it will wear you out because you're
Right.
constantly trying to be like, gather around, watch me do this. And then you do them, that's not working. And then you're panicking to do the next
Right.
thing instead of getting up there and just doing what you do and
Right.
saying, if you're interested in staying and watching, keep watching,
Yeah.
because it isn't going to get any worse. Like, this is
Right.
just this is what I'm going to be doing. So I now understand. Finally, my brain is wrapped around the idea that when people say, don't try and do what the audience is into, instead document what you're doing, and the people that are interested in what you're doing, who like your personality, will subscribe to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. Here I am, like, trying asking chat, like, what do I do to get this particular audience? And I've created these avatars of this audience person that I believe exists out there. And I'm trying to, like, give them what they want and grab their attention and bring it
Right.
over here. And
Right.
it comes for a while and it leaves. And then I panic. And then I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah.
That isn't what I'm here to do. And I now see, because the gals were even explaining, like, all of your social media isn't what it was when it first started.
Right.
Social media now is professional media.
Yeah.
And so you need to change what you're doing. In fact, if your entire belief is that all of your social media is supposed to somehow present your business, you're missing the point. What you do instead is like a 5-to-1, a 7-to-1, or even a 9-to-1 ratio of things that are in the area or arena that you're in. So for me, if I'm doing scary, mysterious, unsettling, psychological mystery stuff, then all of the posts on my channels or my platforms should be about the stuff I'm researching to do. So it's like, how does sound affect the way you feel when you're watching that video? I'll do a video on that while I'm experimenting and checking it out and trying to figure out which music is. I just record myself doing that process so that the
Yeah.
people that are like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And then I go, by the way, if you want to see the result, it's in my video. Then they watch and subscribe to the video. The video now is a payoff to them subscribing to the information they're interested in. I no longer have to be like, what do I make for my short? How do I
Right.
grab their attention? And how do I, it's anyone interested in figuring out in that genre, that of scary or off-putting
Mhm.
or unsettling, that dark kind of psyche space, anything that's in
And it
that
ends up with a
field that I'm
much
already
broader
interested in or
audience
talking or
too,
doing.
because they're gonna have different areas that they came in on from your different, if
Right.
one's about sound, one's about lighting, like, you'll have random
Yeah,
people
one's
that
about
find it.
psychological phenomenon that happens, like the fact that we have a narrator in our head that describes what we're doing in our life to us, and oftentimes it's unreliable and it tells us stuff based on a a pretext that it
Sure.
creates, or a construct that it creates, and then makes our reality fit inside that construct. Okay, there's going to be people that are interested in that and then go, I'd love to see it play out in a series in a video. I want to watch that.
Right.
They're maybe not into creepy psychological horror mystery analog stuff,
Right.
but they're interested in watching me present it. That's all I
Right.
want. I want
Right.
somebody that's interested in what I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I now see, like, I don't need to teach. I don't need to, all I need to do is share my passion of the thing I'm learning and the thing that I'm going through, discuss it, and people will be interested or not.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer, I got the thing that just kept echoing in my brain is on brand, on brand, on brand. How do I do this but still stay on brand? My
Yes.
brand
Your
is
brand is you.
me. My brand is my sarcasm, my dark kind of dirty sense of humor,
Yeah.
my the fact that I talk in circles and that I do. That's me.
Right.
And now, if you're interested in watching what I'm working on, then you'll be interested in watching it. And if you're not, great, get on with your life.
Yeah.
I now see when you say, no, you got to be polarizing. You can't care what other people, what you were telling me this entire time was stop pandering to the audience you're looking for and instead just be you and allow those people to find you.
Yeah. Like, it's not a
I
bad
know you've been
exercise to,
telling me all
like,
this stuff. I get it.
yeah.
And I,
Well, no, I mean, like, but it's what do you
oh,
fall into, right? We've talked about this before.
mhm,
Like, it's not bad to create avatars of who your target is and
mhm,
all that stuff. That's a great exercise. But if you become
yes,
so pigeonhole focused on that, like, you're missing
yes,
the point. And what
yes,
I saw you do this over and over and over with
right,
YouTube, where it's like, at a certain point, if you're worried about monetization, you're just going to be end up doing you're just going to end up doing everything else that everyone else is doing on YouTube because you're
right,
following the trend,
right,
right? And like, that's fine if that's what you want to do.
right,
There's nothing wrong with that. But if
right,
you're sitting here going like, I want to create this because I want to do stuff, I enjoy shooting, I want to have something that has a cinematic feel, blah blah blah. Like,
right,
if that's what your passion is, you're going to lose interest if you
uh-huh,
don't have passion, right? And I'm like,
yes.
this is the
So,
I don't know.
yeah,
It
100%.
I don't
So,
like, I don't think that, like, we have to just follow our passion all the time. Like, no,
no,
if we were gonna follow our passion all the time, no one would do any admin work. No
right,
one's passionate about admin work, right?
right. No,
But
no, no.
there have to
So,
be, like, it's the season, right?
yes,
The passion is the
this is
seasoning
why
on the
that
food that keeps us going back for more.
yes. No, 100%. I am right there. I feel like it's starting to piece together where it makes more sense to me. This is why I think so many content creators, because they believe they're in the content creation space. They are in the
Yeah,
business of creating content to pander to a
right.
specific audience.
Yep.
And so I'm done doing that. And because
Good.
I'm now using my new 9 to 1, and it's not actually 9 to 1, it's like 7 to 1 to 1 to 1. So if I take and I do one thing that leads, hey, by the way, this is the thing I'm working on, check it out.
Yeah,
Hey, here's all of the things that I needed to research to be in this area that I'm interested in doing. You follow along my journey.
yeah,
This is the payoff. And then there's going to be one where I'm like, how do I reach new people? I follow the trend. I do one trending video, one video that ties in the trending music or the trending topic, because
yeah,
there will be a topic that has to do with, lack of a better freaking word now, dark psychology or the use of psychology for some sort of manipulative something that happened in the news or whatever, and people are looking that up. I make a video on that explaining why it works, why it doesn't work, or how you combat it.
right.
And it's like, that's my teaching stuff that I would typically do in session anyway. I do one of those because I know how to do that. So I do that. That grabs the attention of new people who then go, let me look at the rest of his videos. Are those things that I'm interested in or not? Yeah,
Right.
this is kind of interesting. I want to follow along. Or no, I just wanted that one bit of information. So each time I do one of those trending crazy videos, I'll go bolst up and then it'll trim.
Yeah,
That's what I want. I want the
yeah,
bolster and the trim, bolster and trim, bolster, trim, one out of every 9 or 10 videos to be that. Like, I'm now starting to see the formula and why it works and how it works. I
fair enough.
understand the idea of the hook. So, yes, all of those things are grotesquely important. Like,
Yeah,
if I'm doing a video on lighting, I don't just go, all right, guys, well, here's what I'm finding out about lighting. Nope. Nobody's going to care about that. They're not going to watch that. But then it's like, have you ever been tripped by watching a video and it freaks you out in the first 3 seconds? It's probably the lighting. Let me show you why. Then I go and I explain, here's what I'm learning. Here's what I figured out. Here's my, then they get the payoff at the end and they go, that's why the lighting is doing that, because it's this upshot which imposes the lighting and creates weird shadows, which is unsettling and makes you feel, yes, that's it. So that's what I want to do.
That's great. I love
But
that.
I feel
I
like
would watch that.
that kind of brings me back around full circle where I will have generated the audience and then I go, guys, I'm trying to work on this thing. I need some help. And then
Yeah.
people go, yeah, I'll crowdfund. I'll send you $10 or $5. Like, let's put this thing together. Get going.
Yeah.
Get those lights. We want to, let's see the video. Let's see the series. Then they watch and they go, man, that's freaking kick ass. Man, imagine what you could do if you had a small studio and some other people working on it. You could bring in other people, other actors, and make this thing it's a serious thing. Okay, maybe it leads to that. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe this series or this season is one season.
Sure.
And then I write something else because I've got a lot of ideas. This doesn't have to be my, what is that called? Your
Opus.
opus maximus or whatever it is. It isn't that. This is just the first fun thing that I'm getting to experiment with, that I'm going to learn from, and then take that knowledge with me to the next thing and keep going. But here's the cool part is, if people like what I'm making, it's kind of like Wes Anderson makes movies. Every one of them's different, but all of them are Wes Anderson.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Because he has his specific way of storytelling. Well, if that's me, I have a specific way of storytelling, and then I can do it in different manners and different things. I'll generate an audience that's interested in seeing what comes out of my head onto video,
Right.
even when I flop sometimes, because even Wes Anderson,
Yeah.
he's had a couple where I've watched it and went like, not your best one, buddy. But I'm glad I bought your ticket because I want you to make another one.
Right. Right.
Like, I want to support you enough that you keep going.
I like, yes, I Wes Anderson, like one of my favorites is Rushmore. Absolutely love Rushmore. Like that's
Okay,
an
God.
oldie but a goodie, but
Oh, I'm like,
it's
that one's
like
not
late
even ringing a
90s.
bell. I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh. Yeah, one of his
huh,
first films.
okay. I'll have to check
Rushmore.
that one out again and watch it. I've seen all the recent ones. I think the first one I ever saw of his was Royal Tenenbaums, and
Okay,
then
that was
from
before
there.
that one.
So, like,
Yeah,
before
and that's
that,
a great one too.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
Rushmore was like, Jason Schwartzman, Bill
okay.
Murray, um,
Yeah, he
oh my
keeps a
gosh.
lot of the same people around,
Right.
at least for blocks of time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not okay. Don't misunderstand me. I'm no Wes Anderson, but I would love to be able to live in that place, like being able to be creative and just pouring it out. Like when I was younger, I used to make home movies and try to do it with big giant stupid camcorders that you record and stop and rewind it.
I mean, that's
And
what got me
like
into
the
the TV space.
technology wasn't there.
Right.
And it's like, oh my gosh, when I think about it, like if I was growing up in this day and age, how different. But then again, like, I don't know, maybe it was my history of wanting it so bad and not having the ability that burned it into me. So I don't
It's
know.
yeah, it's incredibly like accessible now. I mean, just thinking like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
little
And
thing,
when
this
I
little
ask
device
people,
that
I'm
we have
like,
in our
why aren't you
pockets.
doing stuff? Like it's
Yeah.
all right there. And they're like, eh.
Dude, I know one guy in particular, he has 2 YouTube channels and he does everything from his phone. Like he edits on his phone.
Yeah.
He doesn't even like bring it onto his computer. And it's just like I never
I'm not
would have
that
thought. And
guy.
now he has
And
a
my eyes are so
podcast
bad now. I can
and he's
barely
doing it from
see
his
the
phone.
phone. My fingers are so big. I can't
Yeah.
like, but
But
yeah.
yeah, it's just so much more accessible. And I think that like this is something that you could speak to, but I think having a creative outlet is so incredibly important. I mean,
Yeah.
beyond just a
I get
hobby,
excited being able to do those things,
yeah, like I
or
mean,
even thinking about doing those things.
I've worked in the creative space for a long time, and that yeah, just kind of how I where I ended up, right? But that's
Right.
also not my creative outlet.
Okay.
Creating things for other people is not creativity to me. I mean, it's like it
Yeah.
uses creativity,
Yeah.
but so for me, some of my creative outlets have been making things. I need to
Sure.
do things with my hands,
Okay.
because everything I do is just on a computer.
So
It's just on a
digital.
screen. It's
Yes.
flat. It could be erased, like
Right.
and, I come from a family of custom home builders, and they built things. They built these, massive
Mhm.
homes, and
Right.
I always, like, looked at that, it's like, I wanna make things. I wanna build things, so,
Yeah.
like,
It's
for me, it's
so
usually in the garage doing things. One day, this is like
it's
a one-day statement,
uh-huh.
It's a
Yes. Oh, yeah.
dream, not a goal yet, but, like, one day,
Right.
I
Yep.
would love to have, like, a shop and just be like a woodworking shop, I used to do it when I was in junior high. Like all that stuff was very accessible
Right.
because my family were builders, right?
Right.
Um, built a guitar one time when I was in 8th grade. It's for like a science project.
Sure.
Um, I would love to go back and like do those kinds of things and take the time and do a really good job, you know?
Mhm.
That would be a creative outlet for me. So like I understand it. Like you
Right.
want to put your like you want to bring something to life, bring something into the world that didn't exist before.
Yeah, it's so strange. I grew up my entire life working with my hands. Like in construction,
Mhm.
in fabrication, in plastic fabrication, in working on doing auto glass. Like I always worked with my hands, being a
Yeah,
even being a house painter. So doing all of those things, my entire life was that. Then I learned to be a welder. I was working on my Jeep. I like all of that stuff was cool. And now, but that's what makes doing it in the digital world so exciting to me
sure.
because it's like something I never had. I never had access to. I couldn't do.
Right.
And it is funny to hear you be like, I've spent my whole life making all these movies and editing and doing all this stuff. I want to play work with my hands now, get my
Right.
hands dirty.
We're coming from, different ends of the
The
spectrum, and we're
opposite.
crossing.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
they trains in the night or something. Um, but yeah, so it's exciting because I really appreciate the help and benefit and the insight into how to do things with and being able to I've always thought of myself as being able to learn through osmosis. Like I would
Yeah.
much rather you make the mistake, learn from it, and then teach me the right way so I don't have to learn from that mistake.
Right.
Like if I can bypass that and shortcut it, ooh, man, I'm down.
Yeah,
Like I definitely want that.
for sure. That's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway, all right. Well, then I think I have enough information. I feel like I've veered again. I know. Um, but I feel like I've veered more towards my target and now I can shed some things. So it's like when it comes to me doing the courses and stuff, I was like, man, if I just do one course a month, okay, why? Why was I going to do one course a month? Because I thought, well, if I post enough courses and I teach enough stuff and I do enough things, and then eventually it might pay off to where I start making $5 or $10 per course per month. And if I do that and I have 100 courses out there and I make $5, then that's $500 a month I could be making and bringing in per month. That would be great because then that could afford me the ability in the place to be able to do what I want to do. Every
right.
single thing I do is how long do I need to do that? How much effort do I need to put into doing that before it affords me the ability to do what I actually want to do?
Right.
I
Right.
just keep circling around what I actually want to do. And I'm like, boy, if I would just take half the effort, I put in all of these things, avoiding the thing that I actually want, because I'm so afraid that I'm going to try it and not be good enough at it.
Mm,
And so I keep avoiding my fear, being like, well, that's okay. I'm going to get better and I'll practice. And but then I'm going to do all these other things that will prove to myself that I'm good enough to accomplish these other things so that I can then have the confidence to do the one thing that I want to do. And I'll
mm,
be okay if it doesn't work because I know it'll work. And it's like now I understand it's not going to work. Like
right.
I'm not going to create some creative dark mystery series that's going to become the new Severance. It isn't
Right.
going to happen, but I don't need it to. I need it to be that fun, creative thing that I do that I get to go, man, I made that. And people go, God, that's so bad. And I'm like, I know it's so bad. And I thought it was good at the time, but for me, it was
Right.
like, it was enough. That was as far as I could reach. But
Yeah.
somebody else might see it and go, man, we like where your brain goes. What if, whoop, because really it's like, let's say that I know how to row
Right.
and I can row a boat. I'm never going to go as fast as like a team of rowers.
Right.
So it doesn't why should I even compare myself to that? Like when I look at the shows that I like watching, I watch the credits now and I'm like, "My god, there's 400 people worked on
That's
that
right.
one episode." Like who am I to then it starts beating myself. I meant play that mental game where I'm like, who am I to think I can do all 400 of those things good enough to make something? Like, what am I even bothering for? Why
Yeah.
am I even trying? And then I think, hang on, I only need to be 1/400th as good as them to prove that I did it.
Yeah.
I bet I can be at least that.
I mean, look at where we're at with technology, with AI and all the things. If there is a time that um, is
Uh-huh.
primed for
Yeah,
the
and
independent
I've
creator,
watched
it's
other
now.
solo creators create some pretty freaking good stuff
Yeah.
where I'm like, "Dude, that's not bad. Like, that's really, really good."
And like, just think of the audience that's out. There's an audience for everything.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's an audience for this, right?
Right.
That
They
still
haven't
cracks me
found
up.
us yet, but no. No, if you're
Oh
listening,
man.
thanks for watching. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for
Um,
still watching, still listening. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I just think that like at the end of the day, if that is what's going to get you out of bed and keep you moving, that's probably what you should pursue. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not a you know me, I'm not a build it and they will come
Right.
person. I actually think that that's a lot of what's wrong with a lot of things. But
Right.
if it's the thing that keeps you motivated, that keeps you sane, for me, I mean, there was a period of my life where I would just work in the garage on my motorcycle, or
Right.
I had a project bike in particular,
Right.
and that had nothing to do with my life, like the rest of my life, my work life. It had nothing to do with creativity or anything. It was just literally like I needed to go out in the garage to sweat, to work
And
with my
work on
hands, to get dirty,
mhm.
and then to get the payoff of it running better or it running at all or, whatever,
Right.
because I did something and I did it with my hands. Like for me, it was really, it burned stress, man. Like it was definitely at a period of my life where I was not enjoying what I did. And so that made it tolerable, Um, now it's very
Right.
different, but still it's like, man, I think we all need our outlets. And so
Yeah.
if this is what like makes your fire burn a little brighter, like,
Yeah,
heck
I'm
yeah,
gonna
dude.
stop worrying about trying to make it and yes, I would love to have help paying for some of the subscriptions and the products that I need to
Sure.
make something. But I now see like there are people that I watch that I love what they're doing so much that I'm like, how can I help them?
Right.
I remember I was watching a God, years ago when my son was just being born, and I stayed up really late at night and I was watching YouTube, and there were some people on, they were making a channel as a husband and wife, and they were working on this C train and converting it into a thing. And they were like, oh my God, thank you so much, so and so, whatever their name was. I
Yeah.
really appreciate the fact that you got so sick of me using this tape measure that you bought me this Stanley tape measure and had it shipped to me. I really appreciate that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it used to bother me so much. I wanted to send him a tape measure because it
Yeah.
used to drive me crazy. He'd be like, "Man, this thing seems like it's off." Where and I knew it was a cheap one, and I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, you got to get a new tape measure. Like
Right.
this is your problem. You keep measuring with this thing, and it's off like a little bit each time because the
Yeah.
thing sticks, and it's getting you an eighth inch off." And somebody bought him one, and I was like, "Man, I'm not in a position right now because I was in between jobs and I was just finishing college." And I was like, but man, I would have totally wanted to buy one for them. And I'm thinking, uh, why not be that person where I'm
Yeah.
doing it anyway? And
I
then
mean,
somebody buys me one or doesn't buy me one. Like it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do it anyway.
I think at the end of the day, it's about finding you're finding your audience, right? You're finding the people that want to go along this journey with you, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and I think that there's an audience again out there for everyone, right? Like we've said this before, like especially like this newer iteration of the Minding Your Business podcast, like we're just kind of like ourselves,
Yep.
and people will kind of be attracted to our kind of weird. Our kind of people are going to be attracted to our kind of weird,
Right.
and that's like,
Yeah. Or
yeah,
not one or the
or
other. You,
not.
you
Yeah,
listen
whatever.
to one episode and you're like,
The right
no,
people
thanks.
will get it.
Bye.
That's it.
Like find something you're really going to enjoy listening to that's going to benefit you in one way or another. It's going to entertain or it's going to educate. Like then go for it. But if not, then yeah, take off. Like their life's way too short for you to be irritated listening to us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you get something positive from it, then stick around because
Yeah.
man, I'm glad to have you here. But if not, then you know what? By all means, leave. But let's part as friends. High five. Thanks
High
for
five.
stopping by.
Yeah, there we go. All right, man. Well, I think it is about that time to wrap up, but
Absolutely.
which like, or we could go another hour and a half because I just thought of something. But let's
Yeah.
not.
Let's save it for the next one.
Yeah.
Besides, I need to start making some decisions on what to get next and how to go about trying to get it and figuring out like, am I in a place or a space where I can, we'll talk about this after, but if I'm in a space to where I can kind of pair off and trim and get rid of stuff and then make it long enough to at least, what is it called where you do the test, proof of concept,
Yeah.
do a proof of concept, which I've been writing the season out, and I did create a proof of concept episode that's a standalone. So if I only make that one and then I realize no, then it's at least a standalone thing and it'll be fine. But if it works, then it proves the concept and then I can create the rest of the series. So if I can at least do the proof of concept one now, prove it to myself that number one, that I can do it using the assets and the glitching and the typing and all of the stuff that it entails, because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
For me, and whether or not it's a lot for you, where you're like, oh, I could
A
do
lot
that
for
in
everyone.
4 hours. Um, but once I do that, it kind of helps me prove the concept and create the template for then creating the rest of them. So this will be the hardest one. If I can do that with the system I have, then it justifies me being able to go to my wife and being like, honey, um, I need to start setting aside a little bit of money each month so that I can, go for it.
Yeah.
Um, and then do it. And
I mean,
I think,
the biggest cost is your time.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
you
And I've
you
been
can
sort of
always do
leaning,
things with older equipment and with cheaper
yeah,
software. You can always do
at
that.
what cost, right?
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna be putting in the blood, sweat, and tears into the project, period. You know?
I'm going to do it. Whether or not there's ever even an audience, I don't care. I know that there's enough people that are interested in watching whatever you put. Whether they stick around to see more of it and become an audience, like a fan or
Yeah.
basically a community member, a member of the community, or they don't, it's fine.
Right.
Because I remember I helped my child make a video, a movie, short movie. It's like 2.5 minutes long. And I'm still to this day surprised at how many hundreds of views it's gotten. It's been posted forever, but
Yeah.
how many hundreds of views and comments
Yeah.
it gets from people being like, "Oh man, where's the next one? Like, where are you at? What are you doing? Like, why
Right.
aren't you still going? Like, that was good." It wasn't. My God,
Right.
oh man,
Right.
but it was like it was entertaining enough. We did just enough with the music and just enough with no lighting, no microphones, no. It was just recorded on a phone or a little camera. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I think it was recorded on the DJI,
Okay. Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
a little bit smooth when there was some walking and following along.
Yeah.
Um, but oh man, even the framing was off, and sometimes it wasn't in center, and it was rough. But it was a start, like it was a first step.
Right.
And so there's enough people that are still like, dude, yes, like that's first step. Like, let's go. So there's people that are interested. You can't not be. There's 4 billion people or 7
I mean,
billion
that's
people
it.
or however many.
Yeah.
It's
7.
just a numbers game. And it really is just about like how much time do I spend on YouTube? A little bit. But how much time do I spend just searching for new stuff that I'm interested in? A little bit. So realistically, like I'm thinking, well, I just posted that video. Why am I not getting a bunch of views? And it's like, because the people that might be interested in it and the chance that they might be on when it's advertised and they're in the right mood to click on the thumbnail at that moment, for what are the chances?
Right.
Slim. Like you sprinkle salt on the beach and then go, now look for the salt.
Right. Right.
It's so I think it's just really is a matter of doing it. This is why I understand when they say it's consistency. Do the
Yes.
same thing, do what you're going to do, and just keep doing it long enough for people to find you,
Yeah.
and then they will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It is crazy because I did find that channel with the couple with the sea train, and then I told I don't know how many people.
You told me about
When
it.
when I was watching it, I told so many people, "You gotta check it out. You gotta go watch it."
Yeah.
And it's that. And if you're into that kind of a fabrication, modification, building kind of thing, then you'd watch it. And if you're
Right.
not, you'd be like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man." And then that would be it.
Yeah.
So I get it. Anyway, sorry. I know we said we are gonna wrap this up like 5 minutes ago. Let's
It's all
wrap
good.
this up.
It's all good. Yeah. I mean, my current like YouTube obsession is the wrong word, but like I want to kill some time. I want to relax.
Uh-huh.
Is wood turning videos with like a little bit of music. Oh,
Okay.
puts me just like almost falling asleep. It's great.
Oh my god, that's so crazy because I watch it and I've worked around a lathe, so I know how
Yeah, it's
scary
messy and
those things
loud
are
and
so
yeah,
scary.
yeah,
And so I watch it, it gives me anxiety watching them lean
right.
in and carve and however, I have gotten into like wood carving with this guy. I don't know where he's from. He's a little talks really, really slow, which
Okay,
really helps me calm down. And I think it's called Calm Wood Carving. Is that's not his channel, but that's what he writes in all of the titles of his stuff. So if you
okay,
look up Calm Wood Carving, it's this guy and he chips the thing and he makes these spoons and little cups and he whittles them and just carves it with knives and stuff. It's really intriguing. It's just so interesting that I'm like, dude, I think I want to wood carve. I don't know when I
right.
would ever find the time to do it, but one of these days, like I
One of
think
these days.
yeah.
Yep.
So
It's until you put a deadline on it, it's just a
it's
dream.
yeah, it's a dream. It's not a
Oh man.
goal.
All
So
right, man. Well, wish you luck.
thank
And
you.
definitely let me know, like, if you're looking at hardware, like where I can point you and that kind of stuff. But man,
Okay.
I can't wait to see what you do because it's gonna be super interesting and from the little things that you've kind of like let me in on.
Yeah.
I just want to see it. I need you to make this because it's like it's in my head and I want to experience it. So
Yeah.
um
I'm super excited to see. I hope that I'm capable of capturing on I almost said film, on
I'll
digital,
allow it. Yeah.
on film, the the way I see it, the way I picture it. I'm hoping that I can do that because I think if I can do that, it'll be entertaining enough to it'll be worth watching,
Yeah.
if that
My
makes sense.
encouragement
Because
to you is you won't,
I
but
won't be able to.
you won't.
Yes.
It's fine, right?
Okay.
But that's fine. It's
Okay.
a part of the process.
Okay.
One day you could get
I'll
there,
be
right?
closer.
But what do we say?
Done
Done
still better
better than
than yeah.
perfect.
You're right, because some of my favorite videos I've made before, like the knife scam when I got scammed on the knives,
Yeah,
and so I made that video, me and my son. It did not turn out even remotely close to the way I had in my head, but
right,
it's not a bad video. That's still
right.
one of my I believe that's probably one of my better videos where you watch it and you're like, "That was kinda almost worth watching," versus the other ones where I'm teaching I'm okay with the teaching. I already know the information. So there was nothing exciting about watching it and just
Yeah,
listening to me talk. I don't know. I suppose there are people that might enjoy that, which I'm glad if there are. But yeah, I think I'm ready to try something else besides that. I've done talking head videos now for I don't know 5 years, something.
long time. Yeah.
It's been a bit, been a minute. So, and I feel like I've gotten much more comfortable. I think in front of the camera.
Well, and your skill level across the whole thing has improved. I mean, I'm looking at your shot right now in your office, and it's just
That's
like,
with your help, obviously,
well, I'm just giving
but
you
yeah,
feedback. You're the one placing the lights and trying to accomplish something. Like,
yeah,
I think I've seen growth, so that's amazing. But
yeah. And well,
um,
I try and I look at it like if I'm actually trying to because I strongly believe I just really been leaning into this idea that attention is one of our most valuable assets.
mhm,
And so when people are like, "Oh, it's free." It's not free if you're charging me my attention. And
right,
I think our parents were ahead of their time when they used to make statements and we misunderstood them. Pay
pay
attention.
attention.
We thought it meant look at what you're doing when you're doing it. And it isn't. It's not what it
Right.
means at all. It means that is what is the most valuable thing you possess is your attention.
Yeah.
And what you pay it towards or invest it in or waste it on
Mm,
determines the outcome of your life. And so when
absolutely.
people are like, it's free, all we need is your attention, they're robbing you of your life and calling it
Yes.
free.
It's the one thing it's time. It's the one thing we all have the exact equal amount of every day. And
Uh-huh.
so, yeah, like
If you're
that's all
not
you really
investing
have.
if you're not intentional about where you place or spend or invest or waste your attention, you're ruining your life.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to ask for your attention for any specific period of time, I feel like I need to put in enough effort to deserve it. So
Right.
if I'm asking you to watch me talk, I think I owe you to make the background look good enough to where you don't just go, well, I want to hear him, but I need to look away. I don't want that. I want to
Mhm.
have earned the right to ask for your attention. Let me put it that way. I'm
Yeah.
asking for it and I'm going to put in the effort that shows you that I'm taking your
Taking it
attention
serious.
seriously.
Yeah, and you value it, and that
Yeah.
goes back to, like, our values that we kinda wrote down, like, we want to provide value, like, and look, a lot of this is gonna be personality driven. So if
Mhm.
people don't like,
You
my
or me.
stupid face or
Mhm.
your stupid face or our voices or whatever, like,
Right.
that's fine, that's not our audience, right? But the
Right.
people that do spend the time to listen to us, like, some of it's personality driven and it's fun and it's like, it's just us catching up, but like we got to sprinkle in the value, and I think
Yep.
even just talking about this and talking about attention like that, there's value in that. I guess
Right.
it's in the eye of the beholder, but whatever.
Sure.
But with that being said, like, and valuing people's time.
Yeah.
I think
Let's let him go now that we're
yeah.
at another 5 more minutes.
It's been great. Yeah. So until next week, mind your business. Hey, this is CJ. Are you interested in step-by-step walkthroughs of the tactics we're using to grow our businesses? Then check out season 7 of the Grow an Online Business podcast. Formerly released exclusively to our Minding Your Business After Hours patrons, these episodes are available to listen to now for free. Search Grow an Online Business on Spotify or follow the link in the podcast notes to go directly to episode 1 of season 7. Hey, thanks for listening to the Minding Your Business podcast. Your hosts are Aaron Gerals and me, CJ Jolliffe. If you want to find out more about us or when we're going live or follow us on socials, just go to our website, mybpodcast.com. And again, thank you so much for listening.